Good evening. Welcome to your City Commission meeting. Please turn off or silence all cell phones during the meeting. In accordance with the Kansas Open Meetings Act, the meeting can be viewed on Channel 2 via Facebook Live. The public is encouraged to view the meeting using one of those options. The Leavenworth City Commission meeting is open to the public with limited seating capacity. Refer to the agenda packet on the city website for instructions on reserving a seat and/or submitting comments. Meetings are televised every day on Channel 2 and 7 p.m. and midnight and available for viewing on YouTube and Facebook Live. First item on the agenda, Mr. Jake Potter, quarterly report from the Unified School District 453.
Awesome, thank you for having me. There's not much of a break really anymore for school districts and students, and we're absolutely taking as much advantage as we can of June and July to pick up the pace for those that lost a lot of seat time in classrooms over the last year and a half. It's also an opportunity for our staff members to get back in front of students as much as possible. So if you drive by some of our facilities, you'll see some pretty full parking lots and waves of activity as students. We did drop our masking mandate at the end of the last day of the school year, so all masking is optional at this point. We're taking this time to sort of pilot how that looks and feels, and 2 weeks in, we've not had anything that I would be anywhere close to an outbreak or contact tracing or health department contact, so that's good news. Of course, students and staff are welcome to wear masks if they want to, optional, but we're kind of seeing how that goes in anticipation of what it will be like when we have a fully loaded school in August. So all of our sports camps activities are back to a traditional summer offering, which has been great and well attended, including our new baseball complex. So we've had baseball and softball out there. And one key I'd like to bring to everyone's attention is during the end of when we had postseason playoffs for baseball, we had outside groups using our field. So we had some Johnson County schools that had their turf issues that we were able to help them with and get games in where they were traveling and bringing others into our community, which we thought was great. Same with Oskaloosa as well. So because the fields were open, we were able to work that out scheduling wise and offer our facilities team to support that and bring some additional people to the community. And that's even before we had the concession stand and restroom fully built out. So that's still happening, and that'll be in place for next season. We're in the very finishing stages of our bond construction from the 2018 bond issue. Most notably is the finishing touches on Earl Lawson Education Center, which will house the district's pre-K and kindergarten. It'll be a play-based, very innovative, modern facility. We're already getting some media hits on the differences and real benefits that that's going to have for our community. We're truly down to the outside on that, so as you kind of drive around, you'll see some of the new playground equipment that's being put in, and fencing and turf, all those kinds of things are still to come. And that building will be handed over to us in July, so we can begin to do some professional development in that space. We don't have details worked out yet, but you can put down July 21 as a save the date, and we're going to treat that as a district open house. And because we weren't able to have visitors in our facilities last year, all this new stuff has come online, and we haven't had parents or community members be able to see, most notably Lawson, and also the new intermediate center for the 5th and 6th grade students. So sometime in that afternoon, it might be a 2 or 3 to 6 p.m. situation. We'll open up intermediate center, Earl Lawson Education Center, the high school, so that we can really just be able to let taxpayers, whether you have kids in our buildings or not, be able to come out and see some of those spaces at a time where students aren't in the building. So we'll follow up with more detailed information on that. Additionally, this summer, we're going to deliver collaborative spaces to each of our 3 remaining elementary schools. That's Anthony Elementary, Henry Leavenworth Elementary, and David Brewer Elementary, basically combining classroom spaces because we've now moved kindergarten students out of those 3 buildings and have more space to work with. So some of the things that we're seeing at the middle and intermediate level will be able to be carried all the way through. So opportunities for kids to get together in different ways, use smart boards, presentations, really be able to take advantage of some of the smart technology that's out there. And that's really what that bond delivered, is to make some very innovative and modern spaces in every one of our buildings. So that'll be online before the start of next school year, and that's what we call minor renovation, basically, knocking down some walls, but also making some nice spaces for the students. Summer school, we've launched that in a way that's different than what we've done before. It's not at all the traditional sit and get kind of situation, especially from K through 8. We try to make something that students would be engaged and excited to attend, and really use the months of June and July to get back in school as much as possible and interact with our staff. So from June 7th through July 31, Monday through Friday, 8 to 2:30 p.m. is our summer school offering. It's very camp kind of thing. And if you're seeing social media postings, either from families or staff members, you'll see some very cool lab kinds of things that they're doing. And again, working with other students, and it's been really, really fun to see. And some of the kids have said, can't wait to go back tomorrow. So attendance has been really well for us on that. The high school is more of that traditional model because they're more in credit recovery mode for those summer school students, trying to make sure that they're on track for graduation. So all in all, we have just under 400 students that are taking part in our summer school offerings.
Okay.
What's also exciting for us is not only we're not only supporting that from our staff, teachers that were interested and available to work this summer, it's also a chance for us to grow our own for future teachers, because there's a teacher shortage in this country, and especially Kansas. So we have 16 teacher interns, which are students there at the college level from KU, K-State, Benedictine, Wichita State, Emporia, even TCU, St. Mary. So it's a chance for them to basically audition for a job, and we already have our eye on some of those that as soon as they're graduated, we'll be trying to bring them in. In addition, we've got 10 student interns, which are high school students that are either honor students or pathways that are thinking about teaching as a career. So we're able to pair them with college students as well as full-time class staff members and make them see if this is the path they really want to go down.
It's a good idea.
And get great experience along the way. So not only is it important for our students, it's also an opportunity for us to continue to strengthen relationships and opportunities for future employees that we'd want to have be around. Another thing that's happening this summer is our summer meal program. That's being made available at Anthony Elementary and David Brewer on weekdays from June 7th through July 30. So breakfast is served from 8:15 to 9:15. Lunch is served from 11:15 to 12:30, and that's totally free for children age 1 through 18. Parents can purchase a meal, and that is an on-site offering, not a grab-and-go situation. So Anthony and David Brewer Elementary are those two locations for summer meal service.
That service is available for all school districts in
Correct.
Kansas, because that was a federal program.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
they put into place during the beginning of COVID, and,
Right.
and then the current administration extended it.
Yep,
Which
and
is really good.
we've had summer meals as a free service, traditionally, so we also try to spread those out through the community, so those that are transportation challenged can walk to somewhere nearby them.
Mr. Potter,
Yes.
how many do you estimate you usually have for that?
We haven't been online yet enough to have those numbers.
Okay.
I can follow up with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we sort of rolled into, really looking ahead to next school year. So looking to do some staffing things. We've got some new principals in some of our buildings. James Vanek at the high school moves from associate principal to the principal. He's a graduate, not only at Leavenworth High School, but already went through our entire program, which is kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Jack Johnson will be the principal of Richard Warren Middle School. He actually did his student teaching from a Benedictine in here at middle school, so it's cool to bring him back. And J.D. Nelson moves from assistant principal at Brewer to lead principal at Anthony Elementary. And then we're using Quest 18, 21, and 3rd Avenue School. Laura Crawford and Rebecca Varr will be joint leading that program this year. So transitions, but all familiar faces to us, which is nice for continuity purposes. And probably most important to school families, because we're already getting those calls looking to enroll for the 21-22 school year. That will launch online enrollment July 7th. So they can check our website, www.usd453.org, for all those requirements. And starting July 7th is when that online enrollment window will open. And once we get secretaries and principals back in the buildings that week of July 26th, we'll have on-site support for those that don't have technology at home or need assistance of any kind. We'll have labs set up so we can help families enroll those students, which is something that we do every year. And then not looking too far ahead, but the way the August lines up, August 2nd through 5th is our new teacher academy. We anticipate about 70 new teachers. We always use that opportunity to not just do the professional development of things they'll need to have in the classroom, but to introduce them to the Leavenworth community. So we'll do some team building kinds of things where they'll get to see downtown and get to see some of the venues and things like that they might be passing by on their commute to work, and
Great.
introduce them to living opportunities here as well. August 9th is when the rest of our teachers return, and August 16th is the first day of school. So It's crazy that we're, still early June, but August will be here before we
It
know it
will.
in the school system. So that's a snapshot of the things going on for us right now. Yeah.
Right, yeah, it looks like a lot of good things. So how does that, your teacher numbers compare with previously?
I'd say we're a tick up in terms of new teachers this year.
Okay.
We had a number of, retirements, normal attrition kinds of situations, but just a little bit up than
Okay.
we've been historically.
And a question about Henry Leavenworth. With the kindergartens, I mean, this is true at all the schools, I'm especially concerned with Henry Leavenworth. I know you won't know until after enrollment, but any ideas on how many you'll lose out of that school?
In terms of students?
Students, yeah.
We would anticipate just over 100 students. That's both primarily the kindergarten class.
Right. Okay, I was just curious about
And
that.
then all of our elementaries then become first through fourth grade.
Sure, so they'll all lose about whatever
Yep.
in their
I've
classes.
got a follow-up question on the Henry Leavenworth
Yes.
situation as far as the cars and the
Yep.
queuing in terms of dropping off and pickup. Any progress or can you tell us anything
Sure.
about what may be going on there?
So I'll try to stay this much out of the weeds because I do
No,
know enough to
right.
provide an update. Last night, our Board of Education passed approved recommendation to add a dedicated bus lane, which then allows until the buses got in. We believe that's going to allow approximately 40 cars to be able to stack and queue on our property in the parking lot, take those cars off the adjacent roadway. So that's something that I don't want us to feel like it's a Band-Aid, but it's something that the district could control both from a cost perspective and also a project that we could sign off on and have done before the start of the school year. Because the last thing we want to do is be under construction through the month of August and jam that area up even more. So as the Mayor noted, we'll have less students at that facility and be able to bring some cars off the roadway and into the parking lot. We believe there'll be somewhat of a visible improvement of those two things. And then we'll spend August, September really looking at how the flow is working. I know that Dr. Roth meets with Mr. Kramer on a regular basis, continue to share information, and as well as between the board and commission in terms of things that we can do jointly. And then also knowing that we each have our own jurisdiction as it relates to that area. So that's the update there, and that will be in place for the start of the school year.
That sounds really encouraging, thank you.
On, back to Henry Leavenworth, you're losing approximately 100 kindergartners, and so there'll be 100 less children in that school, which will, and I don't know what percentage of kindergartners were getting picked up, but certainly a percentage of them were.
Right.
So that too should mitigate.
And not just that, I mean, it makes sense that that's gonna be your the biggest duration of a pickup is getting the youngest students in and out of the vehicle.
Makes
So I
sense.
think it'll be a little bit more smooth for that
So
regard
what
as
kind
well.
of problems will you have at Lawson? How many children will be there?
So it's gonna be close to, I'd say just under 300, about that.
Yeah.
And that'll be, a learning curve for us as, and for our parents, they're navigating a brand new facility. So we're very aware of that. We'll work closely with Chief Kitchens and traffic, to make sure that goes as smooth as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Dr. Roth gave us an opportunity as a commission to go over and view Lawson Elementary, and I was very impressed. I mean, in terms of all the spaces and the
nice.
colors and the themes, and should be a great learning, fun experience for the students in my view.
And the architects and planners did a great job of trying to embed history in that facility as
Saw
well.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
that's
kind of,
awesome.
that's
That was
really
awesome.
cool.
Absolutely. So we're excited for the entire community to be able to come out and see some of those spaces.
Sounds good. Any other questions?
No?
Thank you
Great
so much
job.
for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, presentation on 600 Cherokee renovation plan.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Taylor Tedder, your Assistant City Manager, and I'll go ahead and call up Mr. Darren Mann and his wife, Amy Mann. But I'll give you a brief update on this item first. So the city invited parties to submit proposals to our RFP earlier last month, and earlier this year, we purchased the property at 600 Cherokee, the former Club Venom property, for rehabilitation, to have something happen at that property since it's sat vacant for over 10 years. And some goals for that project just include the continuation of the revitalization of the downtown, maintaining some of that historic acknowledgement in the area, the design quality, and then the fiscal benefit to the city, increasing the tax base and new businesses. One thing of note on this item, we are not looking for action or consensus tonight. Just looking for you to listen, ask questions, and have some time at the end for some thoughts and feedback. And
Okay.
then we'll
That sounds-
regroup
Sounds good
after
to me.
that. So I'll go ahead and turn it over and let you give us a little presentation.
Okay. Again, I'm Darren Mann, and this is my wife, Amy. I grew up in the downtown Leavenworth area. My parents and a lot of my family had salons in the downtown since 1959. So I started working in the downtown when I was about 14. And so I'm really familiar with the downtown, and I love the old buildings and the architecture, and I like to see when things come together. The thing about 600 Cherokee is it's such a beautiful building, but it looks so awful now, but I have a vision for it that will bring it back to its former glory and bring in a great tax base. And the best thing about that building is it's so close to everything. It's within walking distance of both of the hotels, the new Loco Hotel and the Hampton Inn. It's close to Haymarket Square, and it seems like there's almost a theme kind of going on Cherokee with restaurants, and so I feel like
It's
that.
nice to see people pass by,
Yeah.
walking, strolling around.
Yes,
It's a nice feature to the downtown, I think.
Yeah. So it is a really huge project, but Amy and I have done several projects that were, one in particular that, yeah, I know.
We're happy
One in
that you do.
particular that was in worse shape was 726, 728 Shawnee Street. And
Yes.
it had a fire there, and we're able to restore it back. Old buildings are always a constant, you're never done. So people are always like, well, when are you gonna be done? Well, you pretty much, it's constant maintenance and everything. But that building was burnt out, 1,700 square feet of the top floor was missing out of it. So we brought in structural engineers and architects, and mostly used local contractors in that project. And if I were to have the opportunity to do 600 Cherokee, I would also use as many local contractors as
Darren knows a lot of
possible.
people.
So,
A lot of networking locally.
yeah. So kind of my vision, or our vision for it would be to bring in maybe a restaurant, maybe a microbrewery with a retail in the back part of it where the Mike's Records and Tapes was. There's space for some other retail. And then upstairs, I believe we could get two really nice loft apartments up there that would, easily rent, that would be so close to everything. So those are, some ideas. It would take, it's gonna take a lot of money, and I feel like I'm well-equipped to be able to see the project all the way through. All the projects, all the big projects have gotten to a point where they kind of take care of themselves, so.
How long do you think something like this would take?
I think it would
The renovation
probably
part.
take about 2 years. That would include time to, seek out different grants and things, and, so that would take a little while in itself. But once I get on a project, I like to stay on it and just see it till it's completed. So I don't like to see anything sit.
But you are very knowledgeable about the programs and the grants and things like that that would be available, right, with the
Right,
previous work that you've done downtown?
Right, and Wendy's been, from Main Street, she's been a great help with that, and Taylor as well, too. So, between those two, I feel like I have really good resources and good direction for some of those programs. And I've done tax abatements on 2 of my buildings that have worked out really well. 727 Shawnee, which is a laundromat, I was able to get a tax abatement for that, and it's right across the street as well. So,
Yeah, my dad owned that building at one time, Midwest Marine.
oh, okay.
It's
I
good,
remember-
it's good to see it fixed
I
up.
remember that.
Dad owned it
Yeah, they had,
with Midwest Marine?
he and Bud Schulenberg.
I remember.
Yeah, it had some old boat advertisements and things up in the lofts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, uh-huh,
Oh, my gosh, I'm gonna have to come see you.
yeah, yeah.
Can someone give you some pictures too?
Yeah, I have a few pictures of it too.
That's the best part about doing these buildings is people
Yeah.
just come
You
up
find
with woodwork.
treasures or,
Yeah,
yeah.
literally out of the woodwork.
Yeah, yeah, we found lots of things behind walls, just little trinkets of people that, maybe did the remodeling or whatever, so those are little jewels in my opinion. So,
Always a fun journey.
yeah,
You estimate $500,000 to bring it up to what your,
I think
Goal
so,
is-
especially with the current cost of everything.
Yeah.
I think in the next, I'm hoping at least in the next 6 months, things will level out a little bit as far as
We're hoping
cost
for
for
too,
things, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully.
so,
There's
I think,
not much that scare us anyway, so
Yeah.
we'll work through whatever
Yeah.
the future is, we
Yeah.
just
Okay.
push through.
Well, I thank you and commend you both for all your hard work and contribution to the downtown Leavenworth. I do have a question on one of the historical homes that you purchased, that 519 Marshall. What's going on with that?
I'm in the process of working with somebody. I think I have a buyer for it,
Okay,
so.
because because I know it's the historical, and that's.
Yeah, it's actually a really neat home and in a really great neighborhood. It's just been neglected for years, so.
And I think it's the last home not renovated in that
In that area?
area,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's kind of like this building, it's just that,
Right,
right
right,
there on the corner, just to complete the look.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
So,
Well, we
Other question,
appreciate-
just
I
We
was gonna
appreciate
say-
all your-
Yeah,
a
no,
question
I-
off the subject,
Sure.
somewhat off the subject. I know that you've been in town since you were born here, but what relation are you to Chuck Mann? Was he your
he
uncle?
was my uncle,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he was a former mayor in the late
Yes.
60s.
Yeah.
I worked with him when I was in high school at the grocery store. I mean, he
yeah.
worked at Kroger's, one of the
Yeah.
managers at Kroger's,
At one point, he
right
was.
across the street from your place now. Chuck Mann.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so he was there before, out at where Westlake is, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, at one point, he was one of the youngest mayors of Leavenworth.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he was,
Yeah,
he was a mayor of Lansing too. for-
I know.
Was he?
He was a character.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate your time. Does
Sure.
anybody else have any questions?
Well, you've given us a lot of stuff to look at here, which is really helpful, and we appreciate that.
Sure.
Who's the young man with you?
That's my youngest son Uriah, and I don't know if he's excited.
He looks excited.
But all my kids have helped me with, all my older kids have helped me with projects and things, so.
Shout out to the prime age to be
Yeah.
perfect for this project.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, he's smiling back there.
Any other questions
Now, I would
No.
just,
for today?
just like to follow up with the other commissioners in terms of appreciate your business expertise and your commitment to, obviously, your business, but also the downtown, which is very, very important to me, and I think the commission, that you're able to have that commitment to the city of Leavenworth and downtown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
thanks
appreciate
again.
your time.
Thank you, guys. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
On the agenda, dangerous structures review and assessment.
Our Community Development Director, Julie Hurley, will handle this one.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Every year, we put together a list of these properties. We have not started contacting any of these property owners. We have not published anything yet. We haven't done title work. So tonight, we're just looking for a consensus from the commission to move forward with the structures that we're presenting. And then staff will begin working on all of the notifications, title work, all of the steps that we have to go through legally to keep moving these forward. So just to jump in, the first one that's listed on your agenda, 326 Dakota, that property has since sold, and as of yesterday, there was a building permit pulled on this for roof, siding, windows, and kitchen and bath remodeling. And I don't know if any of you drove by it today, they've actually started working on it.
I did.
Yeah,
I've
they
seen it
started.
Yesterday, they hadn't. I drove by it
Yeah, I
yesterday.
drove by
They
it. It was
came
about
in this
4 o'clock
morning,
and,
and we
yeah.
thought that they were tearing it down, because they had completely ripped off the roof.
I've seen that today.
So we actually went up there and talked to the folks, the new owner was up there working on it, and kind of talked to him about what he's doing. They had to remove the entire roof structure and redo it, so it's not just, they're slapping some new shingles on it, and so staff feels pretty confident that they're, moving forward with that.
Good.
So
Yeah,
staff
they
did
did.
take off that first one, 326
Yep.
Dakota, and we do not recommend keeping that on.
Okay.
Great. Yep.
So then to get into the ones that we do have on, 619 Ottawa, this is just a single family home. Next one is 620 Osage, single family home and accessory structure. This one had been a fire property. There was a building permit pulled last spring for this. And there has been no work that staff can tell to date on it. I know Commissioner Leonhard did go by today and there was somebody there. We haven't
Right.
had any contact
Up
from
there, like,
anybody working
pulling
on it.
boards off, so I don't know what he was
Yeah.
doing.
So, given that there's been no movement
Yeah.
on this at all, staff feels pretty comfortable keeping this on a demolition list and, seeing if we can get something done.
Do you know if we've received the 15% of the insurance proceeds on this?
I don't know on this one, and, a lot of times
We did not.
there isn't
We did not.
insurance.
We did not receive any insurance.
Yeah, probably.
proceeds.
Was it not insured?
It could have been that it was not insured. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next one is 733 Pawnee. This is just the accessory structure out back on this one. Next one is 869 Sherman.
That's a glamour shot compared to what it really looks like.
Yeah.
I agree,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, and I know
I
you
drove by
had a
them.
chance to drive by these. A lot of these, the pictures don't really do it justice for how they actually.
And there's an accessory structure
There
in
is
the
an
back, right?
accessory
Yeah.
structure with this one.
Okay.
The next one is 910 Sherman. This is a single family home.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, was telling Ms. Hurley, I drove by there again today, and, the door was partially open. And yeah, these are Crisco oil containers, and they're still sitting there, and this is pictures from January.
Yeah, on the front
No,
porch,
there-
you
there's
can
nothing
see them
going on
still
there.
You know,
sitting there
like-
as of yesterday.
So I don't know if someone's in there or what. It's not supposed to be.
Next one is 918 Pottawatomie. This is a single family home. At one point, it appears they had started doing some work on this. There are no building permits for this that were ever issued, so any work that had been done was never permitted. But there's been no contact from the owner and no change in this one, so. Next one is 919 Pottawatomie, a single family home. This one was another burn structure. And it looks like we've got an accessory structure along with this one as well. Next one is 927 Pottawatomie. This is just the accessory structure in the rear of the home. Next one is 706 Garfield. This is a single family home. Next one is 767 Charles. This is a single-family home and accessory structure. There's the garage. Next one is 1921 Fifth Avenue. You might remember that this was on the demolition list a few years back and was removed by the commission. The owner at the time, once it was removed from the list, there was no further work done. And it's our understanding that that owner has since passed away, and so there's been no movement on this one. And so since there was no further work done, staff felt that it was time to bring it back to the demolition list.
Okay.
Next one is 204 North 17th Street. This is just a single-family home. The next one that's on your agenda was listed as 1018 Pottawatomie. The address we were looking at was actually 1022 Pottawatomie, the next door house. I apologize, we just got the wrong address on there. One of the drawbacks of starting our list early in the year is that sometimes they get purchased and worked on after we start our list, and so that happened with this one. So 1022 Pottawatomie, that's the house we were looking at, was since purchased. It's now occupied, and the current owners have done a fair amount of work on it. So there are some minor code violation type things that we can take care of through those means, but it's not a property that we would see as eligible for demolition. Whoop. And then our final one is 1050 10th Avenue. This is a two-family structure.
What are the issues there?
It's vacant, there's no utilities, I don't
Okay,
know if you had a
got it.
chance to drive by it, this is one of those that looks,
It looks worse.
Yeah.
quite a bit
Looks
worse in
worse.
person than
In
the
person.
Yeah, I've been
pictures.
by there, but I
Yeah,
can't,
yeah,
I didn't know,
what the situation.
didn't know it was empty.
Yeah, so all of these, we've checked, water service on them, none of them have water service, that's how we typically, verify that they're not occupied or should not be occupied. So that is where we're at with those. So again, we've got 13 of these that we would propose going forward. So of the 15 on your list minus number 1, 326 Dakota, and number 14, 1022 Pottawatomie. So assuming that there's consensus from the commission, staff will start working on developing a remediation agreement for each of these that's going to list out the specific items needed to bring it into compliance. We'll make contact with the owners, try to get to working with them, and then we will schedule a time for this to come back to set a resolution, to set a public hearing for these, so kind of get the ball moving on these, and would expect to see a public hearing sometime later this summer.
Ms. Hurley, chose 15, is that figuring we have X amount of dollars for demolition? Now that we're down to 13, was there a couple alternates that you are gonna bring forward or not?
No, we don't have any alternates that we would propose bringing forward. To be honest, whenever we have a demolition list that starts with, 15, 20, whatever it is, a good number of them come off of it. And so we end up taking down maybe 10-ish a year, and that we're always right up against or over the budget that we have. So it's not a situation where we feel like there's gonna be extra funds laying around that aren't used.
And let's review the process again. If we have a consensus on these 13 properties, you'll do your legwork on title search, et cetera, taxes, and when would the owners be given a letter?
So we will do our title work. That typically comes back fairly quickly, a couple of weeks. We'll go ahead and send that out here within the next week. Once we get that title work back, we will make contact with the owners. We send them an initial letter saying, hey, your property's been identified for potential demolition. Here are the issues that need to be resolved. Please contact us to lay out a plan to work with this, and then they would be given time to do that. So the owners will be notified within the next month.
Certified letters.
Yes.
And when is our first meeting?
The first meeting would just be passing the resolution, setting the public hearing. So realistically, city clerk and I'll work out the dates, but it's probably going to be 6 to 8 weeks from now that we would be seeing a public hearing, I think.
Okay.
August.
But
Yeah.
people, between the time,
Yes. Oh,
okay.
between the time a person gets a certified letter saying this is what needs to be done, and our public hearing, how much time would that,
They'll have over a month.
okay?
Yeah.
And so
To
it'd be
get-
reasonable to expect
Yeah.
in the summer that if they're serious, they can move
Yeah,
forward.
we
But-
could-
And the purpose of this program is not to tear down these houses, but to force the owners to say, clean them up, or we are gonna tear them down, because they are a cancer to the neighborhood, they're a cancer to the town, and they're just terrible places.
Right.
But when we go through this process, and if everything works right, either these things will be remediated or demoed, hopefully by the end of the year. Is that-
Right, that would be the goal.
Yeah.
I have a question. I was a little surprised by the number 15. I thought there'd be more closer to 20. But, land bank, we had a meeting, it was last week, and so are we thinking some of these, that there's some of those properties that may have fallen on this list that were maybe banking for the land bank?
Yeah,
coming
some
up?
of the ones that were initially identified by code enforcement, we took a look at and thought they'd be more appropriate for a land bank, so we do have 4 or 5 that we would be looking at, going more the route of the land bank that will be moving forward here this summer as well.
Okay.
I have a specific, and I had brought this to the city manager's attention. It's 804 4th Street. It's down there near the intersection of 4th Street and Spruce.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the structure, the walls and everything don't look too bad, but it's got all the plywood with all the windows and everything. Any reason
Yeah, there's active building permits on that, and there's actually an application for the Board of Zoning Appeals on that property. The owners are working on it, and it's taken a little bit longer because they're going to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for some of the repairs that they're making.
We think the owner's intent is to
Yes.
spruce it up and
Yeah.
get it
So,
back.
yeah, whenever there are active building permits, we try not to put it on a demolition
fine.
list if they're showing progress.
That's fine,
There's still a lot of buildings around town that we need to look at.
Right, but these were, I mean, the photos, they
Yeah.
were pretty straightforward, so
Yeah.
wasn't any having to really look hard. But, yeah, so I would hope that, whatever zoning issues are being discussed will get resolved, and, I'd hate to see another 6 or 8 months go by and that 804 4th Street just stay at its current status, because it looks terrible.
I believe that the ownership has changed within the last few months of that it's been purchased, and so we're seeing some movement on it.
Well, I just hope that if there's all the people that are watching tonight, if you happen to be the owner of these properties or know who might be the owner, to give them a heads up that they'll be getting letters if we have a consensus to go forward. And I hope the intention of our commission is we move with due diligence on this and with, I don't want to say expedited, but,
In a timely
get them
manner?
in a timely manner. That's well put. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this?
No.
If not, is there a consensus to move forward?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. Got
Okay,
the
thank you.
Thank you.
consensus.
Thank you.
Okay, that ends our study session. Mr. Tedder, do you have anything tonight?
I have nothing.
How is the pool going over there? Hearing anything on that, on the Woman?
I've heard that they've had plenty of
Plenty of
people
people.
with their pool passes.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
But
I've drove by there and there's,
but it's been going well.
Good, that's what I
No
wanted to make
issues.
sure it was
So,
going okay.
I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, that they had to turn back some people because it's
many.
the limit for the number of lifeguards on duty. I don't know if each lifeguard is responsible for 50,
Well, they,
whatever number is, and so they have to click them in, so, one in, one out type thing. I'm sure it's not one in, one out, but,
There is a capacity on.
Yeah,
on the
capacity
pool,
issue.
but,
yeah, there's 500 and something on the pool, so.
and
Yeah.
it could be less if there's not enough, if there are fewer lifeguards on
Right.
duty or something.
Right.
So,
Have we had a challenge with
I think they're
hiring the
training.
lifeguards?
I think they're training new lifeguards, aren't they? That's what Mr. Kramer said? or-
Yeah, we've had good luck
Class.
with lifeguards, and I believe the rate of pay is doing well. So
Yeah, It's
that's
my
helped
understanding
a lot.
that they've just hired 10, so that's good, that's good. That's what
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Mr. Kramer said the other day, so I
Okay,
believe.
so you can't believe everything you read on Facebook, but there was that I saw, I think the same thing Commissioner Preisinger saw in terms of fluctuation in terms of the number of people, and then the supposition that it was caused by not having so many lifeguards. I don't know, but that's why I think we brought it up. So,
I don't look at Facebook anymore.
I skim
Okay.
it, I don't read it.
Okay, anything else, Taylor, for this evening? Okay, go around. Mark, anything?
I have nothing.
Commissioner?
Actually, I do. Today is, it's June 15th. It's World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And I just wanted to read something real quick. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, called We Add, was launched on June 15th, 2006 by the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse and the World Health Organization at the United Nations. The purpose of WEAD is to provide an opportunity for communities around the world to promote a better understanding of abuse and neglect of older persons by raising awareness of the cultural, social, economic, and demographic processes affecting elder abuse and neglect. In addition, WEAD is in support of the United Nations International Plan of Action, acknowledging the significance of elder abuse as a public health and human rights issue. WEAD serves as a call to action for individuals, organizations, and communities to raise awareness about elder abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So just if you believe the situation is serious, threatening, or dangerous, of course, always call 911 or local law enforcement for immediate help. And that's what the, wore purple today, and some other people did too, but with the purple ribbon. And it's June 15th, and it's for the month of June. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you.
For
It's
awareness.
good information. All right, if nothing else, we are adjourned.